You're welcome back to the show. This is GHToday. I am Sewami here. It's time for a big conversation for this morning. I'm joined in the studio by the Honourable Member of Parliament for the Nat'l Constituency and also the Ranking Member on Parliament's Foreign Affairs Committee, Mr. Samuel Ablakwa. Good morning. It's good to have you.
Hi, good morning, Sewa.
How are you doing?
I'm well. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. How's work?
We're doing our best under very trying circumstances, but giving it all our all for God and country.
What are these trying circumstances?
Oh, you know the state of the Ghanaian economy. You know that a lot of our constituents are under enormous pressure. They are reeling under the general hardship, excruciating hardship. And so when that happens, there is tremendous pressure on members of parliament when we go back to the constituency to offer assistance. You may have heard that some of us have had to double up and scale up our support to constituents. When the national economy is not doing well and when government policies are not being rolled out properly, it does affect all of us, particularly members of parliament in rural constituencies. So, for example, you take NAPCO workers who have not been paid for more than 7 months. I have had to reach out to them and make some, social net support available for them. You take national service personnel, for example, who have also had delay in their allowances. I have had to, for example, recently donate 2 months of my salary to cushion them. You're having this policy that I think that this country will have to really dismantle as quickly as possible, where victims of sexual offenses have to pay for their examination forms, the police examination forms. I have had to, as it were, abolish all those fees in my constituency and other interventions that we are carrying out. So all of this, it imposes enormous pressure on members of parliament generally. And I really wonder how colleagues are suffering. We are all trying to do our best under the circumstances. And,
okay.
And you do know that the District Assembly Common Fund is also in arrears.
Okay.
We'll
get to all of that. And I am
arrears.
very interested in the support that you have been giving to members of your constituency especially. We'll get to that. But let's start with the National Cathedral because of time. I mean, I have listened to you grant interviews and speak on it. But in 2019, the finance minister came to Parliament and said that government was going to donate seed money to the construction or the building of the National Cathedral. What did you in the NDC do about it then?
Brilliant question. So you are right that for the 2019 budget, the finance minister informed Parliament. So this was, the budget is presented the year before. So in November 2018, specifically on the 15th of November 2018, the finance minister presented the 2019 budget and had this to say at paragraph 157 of his budget speech. He said, and I quote, "Mr. Speaker, the President is determined that the building of the National Cathedral will not put undue financial burden on the state. He has therefore proposed a partnership between the state and the Ghanaian Christian community, both at home and in the diaspora. The formal launch of this national fundraising campaign is slated for December 28, 2018 in Ghana and February 2019 in the United States. This National Cathedral Partnership Framework operationalizes and indeed is practical expression of the social partnership envisaged to foster participatory development of country as our collective goal." So this is what the finance minister said as regards the National Cathedral project. We consider this a major shift in policy because you recall that previously the government had said that this would be an entirely private initiative and that they will not burden the taxpayer at all. They will not use government resources. In other words, our taxes to build this cathedral. And indeed, I have here a press cutting on from Adom Online, which was also captured by Ghana Web and many other portals. Quote, government not using taxpayers' money to build National Cathedral. Immediate past General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana, Reverend Dr. Kwabena Opuni Frimpong, says government will not pay for the yet-to-be-built National Cathedral. Speaking on Asempa FM's Ekosi show on Monday, Dr. Opuni Frimpong said President Akufo-Addo will only facilitate the acquisition of land for the project, but will not finance it as is being speculated in the media, unquote. So this has always been the notion.
And this was in what year?
This was in 2018. This is August 27, 2018.
Okay.
So that's why I said that we were told at the beginning of the president's term, the first term, that this was a personal pledge he had made to God, that if God made him president, he will build this cathedral in his honor, and it would largely be a private effort, mobilizing Christians and other donors to construct this cathedral. Then we got this policy shift in the 2019 budget presentation in November 2015. When we had that, we were obviously struck about the sudden shift in position. And so in the budget debate, when the budget is presented, it is debated and then it is subsequently approved or disapproved if we vote and the majority of MPs say that they do not support the budget policy. Indeed, in the entire history of our country, there's been 2 occasions where budgets have been rejected, the Leman budget and then recently the Akufo-Addo budget, which was later overturned by our colleagues on the majority side. So during the budget debate, we made the point that despite this announcement of a policy shift, we have gone through the budget and we don't see any specific line item. You see, when you indicate in the statement of the budget, that is the words, the text, what you are going to do, you must then back it up with the numbers. So we know, if you say that there's going to be seed capital, how much is that seed capital? If you say it's a partnership, so you are expecting taxpayers to also contribute, to join you in this effort, what is the level of partnership? Is it 20%? Is it 30%? Is it 50%? Is it 80%? We need to know. So we went through the entire budget and there was no provision at all. And
but was there no conversation in Parliament that government was going to provide 100 million seed capital for the cathedral?
No, there wasn't.
So when you were debating on this thing, what were the conversations that were going on? So, what information did you seek before you approved the budget?
Yes, so we made clear that having gone through the budget, and I have here a press cutting from Ghana Web, which says that disbursing funds to construct National Cathedral without Parliament's approval, an issue of accountability. The Honorable Dominic Ayeni, former Deputy Attorney General, a Member of Parliament for Bolga East, Dr. Dominic Ayeni, has stated that the attempt by the government to allocate a seed money for the construction of a National Cathedral is unconstitutional and an issue of accountability. Dr. Ayeni indicated that there is no line item of seed money in the 2019 budget statement and economic policy with respect to the construction of the National Cathedral. Debating at the plenary on the 2019 budget statement and economic policy of the government, Honorable Ayeni pointed out that there is a critical issue of accountability and that the minister cannot purport on behalf of Parliament to disburse funds for the construction of the cathedral without prior approval from the House. So we made clear that, look, we have perused the budget, gone through the entire pages. Indeed, you recall that the President has said that this National Cathedral is his priority of priorities. When you go through the budget statement, always at Appendix 6, you have government's priority projects listed. And I have here the 2022 budget at page 264, and this budget is available online. Viewers can download the budget statement from the Ministry of Finance website. Appendix 6, Cost of Government Flagship Programs, 2022, page 264. When you go through the entire, the 11 flagship projects are listed here. You see LEAP, you see Free SHS, you see school feeding program, you see Nation Builders Corps, National Education Authority, that's the cards, the Ghana cards allocation. You don't find the cathedral here. And I have all the budgets of President Akufo-Addo here 2017 budget, 2021 budget. Indeed, when you take the 2021 budget as well, page 241, appendix 6 again, the priority projects are listed. So even though the president says that this is my priority of priorities and I am going to get it done no matter what the challenges are, it's not provided for. You take the 2020 budget as well, page 233. You see 17 items listed here as government flagship programs. And then you go through the entire budget. There is absolutely no allocation, no line item. And you see why this is significant. It is important to make the constitutional argument, which Dr. Ayeni drew attention to during the debate. Article 178 of the 1992 Constitution. And mind you, since last week, since we intercepted the release of 25 million Ghana cedis to rebate Company Limited without parliamentary approval, we have been asking them to make reference to the paragraph in the budget, the page in the budget, or the appendices, the table, any line item, any provision whatsoever. They have not been able to respond. It's about a week now. So if you look at Article 178 of the 1992 Constitution, it provides no monies, emphasis mine, no monies shall be withdrawn from the consolidated fund except A, to meet expenditure that is charged on that fund by the Constitution or by an act of Parliament, or B, where the issue of those monies has been authorized by an appropriation act, or 2, by a supplementary estimate approved by resolution of Parliament passed for the purpose. I have all the appropriation acts here from 2017 to 2022. All the appropriation acts are here. There is no allocation, no approval by Parliament, no line item at all. So what is happening here is a grave constitutional violation and a egregious constitutional breach. The taxpayers' funds is for the people of Ghana. No public official has the right. You have absolutely no business touching public funds without approval from Parliament. I mean, this is Public Financial Management 101. It's so basic. We are led by a president who was Attorney General, who should know. The finance minister is no minnow when it comes to public financial management. He cannot claim to be naive. So they know that you cannot be dipping your hands. And you see, so far, the focus has been on the 25 million Ghana cedis release.
Okay.
You recall that on Friday, we also put out documentation from the Office of the President, which reveals that another whopping 32 million Ghana cedis has been paid to Sir David Ajayi and Associates. Interestingly, Sir David Ajayi received his registration certificate to practice in Ghana only this year, April this year. And yet, in 2021, he received this colossal amount of money. I know of many medical doctors who have trained in Russia, Ukraine, Cuba, who have to wait, sit at home, sitting for the exam by the Ghana Medical and Dental Exam, Ghana Medical and Dental Council, pardon me, pass the exam before they are allowed to practice. It's the same for all other, professionals. If you want to practice in Ghana, you should be called and be registered on the roll to practice here in Ghana, whether you're a lawyer, whether you're a dentist, whether you're a pharmacist, whether you're a medical doctor, an architect, a planner. Those are the rules. But we're making exception for Sir David Ajayi. I'm not taking anything away from his, extraordinary career as an architect. He's brought Ghana a lot of pride and all of that. But this doesn't even help that image, that reputation that he has built over the years. It doesn't do him any good. We should play by the rules. So you have here a constitutional breach, Article 178. You also see that our professional laws are being totally decimated. Then the procurement law. The procurement law is very clear that before public funds are released for any entity, any company whatsoever, to carry out public transactions, they must go through a procurement process. There has to be some tender. Nothing of the sort has happened. So, you see, I ask myself, Sarah, if there is any project in the entire history of this country that must be approached with a lot of circumspection, a lot of purity, a lot of holiness, a lot of godliness, it is this project. We are building a national cathedral where we will go and pray to our Maker, where we will go and confess our sins, where we are hoping to go for blessings. This is not a project that should be subjected to the usual shenanigans of corruption, of opacity, of, disregard for our laws, and the total disrespect of due process and procedural regulations that have to be followed. So I am totally appalled that it appears that even God, it doesn't appear that people fear God. Look, this is a national cathedral, and we engage in all of these illegalities. You see?
So, my question really is right now, Mr. Ablakwa. Your problem is that governments didn't come for approval before releasing these monies, because you are not surprised that some monies have been allocated because you were aware it was in the budget. And, for someone like you who demands a lot of accountability, I mean, you saw the budget, you didn't see the figure in it, but you allowed it to pass. You didn't ask questions as to how much money was going to be allocated to the building of the cathedral.
I wonder if you have been listening to me. I have said that when government came to Parliament on the 15th of November 2018 and said that they were going to have this partnership where they will expect some seed capital.
We've moved away from 2018.
From taxpayers. We raised objection. We said that we had gone through the budget and there was no line item. I just read Dr. Ayeni's...
Yes, but I'm asking, what did you do? To what extent did you go?
So that's what you do as a member of Parliament. You raise it during the debate. Your question will have been valid if we did not identify that there was no line item and we didn't raise it during the debate. We raised it during the debate.
Did you ask to get the finance minister to come and answer questions on it?
Of course.
And what happened?
Of course, because during the debate, that is what the debate is about. You raise the issues and then you elicit responses from the finance. That's why we always insist that during the debate on the budget, either the finance minister or any of his deputies must be present. And when we raised this matter, they had no answer for us. So
the finance minister did come?
Yes. And he was in Parliament. His deputies were there during the debate. Indeed, he came to provide the final, responses to the debate.
But nothing on the cathedral.
But he had nothing to say about the allocation on the cathedral. So our understanding, because we know that per Article 178, if you don't provide the allocation, you cannot spend. So we were not expecting that this so-called seed capital will commence. We were clearly under the impression, fortified by the Constitution, that they will come back to Parliament later, on a later date, when they are clear in their minds how much that seed capital is, what is the nature of the partnership, how much is even the total cost of the cathedral project. And then, because if you look at the cost, they've been granting interviews all over the place. If you go through the entire trajectory of reports, you notice that at one point they say $100 million, at some point they say $200 million, at another point they say $350 million. It's not clear how much this cathedral will cost. But if you go through the entire 6 budgets that the Akufo-Addo presidency has presented in Parliament. You don't see any cost item for the budget. And we do not know how much of this so-called seed capital will be, or whether really we are now, the Ghanaian taxpayer is now, bearing the cost.
Okay.
And I can confirm to you that documents I'm reviewing from the Finance Ministry and from the Office of the President, it will shock you and it will shock Ghanaians to realize that it appears that the taxpayer has been footing a large chunk, the lion's share of the cost of building this cathedral.
How much?
It's in hundreds of millions. I'll be releasing the third tranche of documents this week, and it will shock you to realize how much of taxpayer funds has gone into this. It's now in the region of hundreds of millions. Remember that we first released 25 million, then we released the 32 million for Sir David Ajayi. That's 57 million. The next release will push us into hundreds of millions of Ghana cedis. And
so per the documents you reviewed so far, about 57 million.
57 million. What we have put out so far, 57 million Ghana cedis is what has been spent.
Okay. You said, you quoted the Constitution that monies that will be taken from the Consolidated Fund. Do we know exactly that the monies are being taken from the Consolidated Fund?
Absolutely, we know. Because all taxes collected go into the Consolidated Fund. And these are monies from the taxpayer. This is not, let's not confuse the public. This is not the Yibima, the short code, all those Christian campaigns that has been going on, various churches, and all of us as Christians. I would not stand against the building of the Lord's Temple. I was SU Vice President in Presec. I was an evangelist. I used to preach in buses, do dawn broadcasting. I am not in principle against building a national temple. I know that if you look at the architectural landscape of many countries, you see the role of the church and cathedrals play a very prominent role, in their skylines when you assess their architectural glory and the aesthetics of those jurisdictions.
Okay.
But we must do things right, particularly as we are building this in the name of the Lord. And you see, the other fundamental issue we are raising is that if you look at the state of our economy now, if you look at what Ghanaians are going through, look at this few minutes of rainfall only yesterday, and you see the deaths. The poor young lady who died around the Alajo, Tesano area.
But the issue of flooding has been with us for years, but projects have still been done.
Look, the
Haven't they?
president himself says that what we are going through now is unprecedented. You've heard the president say that. The president himself, the vice president, the finance minister, they have said we should bear with them because this is the first time in our lifetime we are having a pandemic, and they are right about that. The last time a pandemic happened was probably sometime, 1912, thereabout. Then they also add the Russia-Ukraine war, right? And they say that all of this has aggravated our economic conditions, and so we should bear with them. That is why, as we speak, NAPCO trainees have not been paid for more than 7 months. National Service Personnel, for the first time, we are seeing delays in National Service Personnel allowances. We have not printed textbooks in 3 years. The newspapers are only reporting this morning that they are now beginning to award contracts. 3 years. Government has not been able to provide textbooks to our basic schools. School feeding caterers are up in arms. They say that the 97 pesos since 2016 they have been paying. They have been paid to take care of the lunch, the warm meals for our children. Is woefully inadequate, and we all can agree with them. 97 pesos. What can it do? Even that is in arrears for several months. So you consider the state of our economy. Look at the levels of unemployment. The population housing census is reporting the worst unemployment rate in our history since census began. 13.4%. And they say that if you even go further and look at the category of 19 to 28-year-olds, it even gets worse, in excess of 30%. So there is total paralysis. The levels of hardship, of torment that the average Ghanaian is going through. And see, we are in a cost of living crisis. The levels of inflation we haven't seen in more than 2 decades.
Right.
Inflation is currently at 23.6%.
Right.
You know that.
Yes.
And as we speak, fuel prices is gone up again this morning. Look, everybody is under such but there are several
issues happening in the country right now. Where would you have wanted government to focus these monies on?
So when you say that these are unprecedented tough times, bear with us. Understand me that I can't pay NAPCO for now. I'm delaying with allowances, school feeding caterers. Please bear with us. I can't increase your demand that increased from 97 pesos to 2 cedis. We can't afford it now. Bear with us. Labor union, your agitations that we should look at inflation and peg the new wage bill. We cannot. Bear with us. You must show that exemplary leadership. Look, I have been assessing cathedrals across the world. Do you know that some cathedrals took 600 years? The cathedrals in Europe that the president says that he's inspired by. Check. Some of the fastest ones that were built. 26 years. The one that got attacked by fire in France recently, that the president issued a statement. He was among the first world leaders to issue a statement to empathize with the French people. It took them 26 years. So you can hold on. I would have expected the president to hold on with this, because you see, this is...
And look where. You haven't answered that question. And look where.
Hold on with the construction of the project.
Okay.
And then spend these resources on, as it were, cushioning the people. Look, if you analyze what is happening in other jurisdictions, take Hungary, for example. You see, what the global economic crisis has done is that it has exposed leaders who are not sympathetic, who are not creative, who don't empathize with their people, who don't have clear vision. It has exposed them. If you take Hungary, they are also within the current global ecosystem. And yet, the Hungarian government has been able to place a cap. They have subsidized goods and services, petrol, maize, rice, the essentials, they are staples. They have done price control. So it doesn't go up beyond the, and they are subsidizing.
Okay.
Take the United States of America. Despite the global economic crunch, Biden's job creation policies has shot him into the record books as the president who has created the highest number of jobs in the entire American history. 6.6 million jobs is what President Biden has created in his first year in office. He has beaten Jimmy Carter's record, beaten Bill Clinton's record, broken all those records. Go to the United Kingdom. Despite the global economic crunch, Prime Minister Boris Johnson is providing stipends to households, £200, £300, £400
so that's
every
what you
month
want the president
to support them.
That's what you want the president to do.
The president should learn from other leaders who, during this excruciating economic crisis, are cushioning the people, assisting the people, helping the people.
Is that what you want the president to do?
Yes. Instead of divert. Look, even the Bible. Let me give you some scriptures
Quickly. Yes.
In Matthew chapter 25, from verses 31 to 46, Jesus the Christ said that on the judgment day, he will send some people into the darkest and hottest part of hell. Because when he was naked, they refused to clothe him. When he was sick, they refused to visit him and take care of him. When he was hungry, they refused to feed him. When he was thirsty, they refused to give him water. When he was in prison, they refused to visit him. When he was destitute, they refused to show any care. Then they will ask him on the judgment day, but God, where did we see you? If we had seen you, of course, we would have. He said, no, you do it for the least, the vulnerable. Once you didn't take care.
And this is something that the president has never done.
Once you didn't take care of the vulnerable.
Didn't the president do this when we were facing COVID?
To win elections.
Didn't he supply?
To win elections.
Didn't we have free water?
He did.
Didn't we have electricity for free? So he has done it before.
To win his election, to secure his second term.
Regardless, but it has been done before.
No, this was the test.
But it has been done.
The real test is now, when you are not going to face an elections, and it's all about a legacy, and things have gotten worse. At the time he was doing the things he was doing just to win elections, inflation was not at 23.6%.
All right.
Our debt to GDP ratio was not hovering around 80%.
Okay, let's wrap up on the National Cathedral.
Hit 84%.
Let's wrap up on the National Cathedral. So we know that you have filed some 4 questions for the three questions.
Yes.
For the finance minister to come and answer. I mean, what is the guarantee that we will get some answers? Because you have filed questions to know how much it costs for the president to travel. As it stands, it's been several months and we still do not have that information. What is the guarantee that we'll get some closure on that?
You are right that we are dealing with a government that has a penchant of concealing information. And in a democracy, that is not an attribute of any true democratic government. And it's really a shame that is the kind of government we have to grapple with. Nonetheless, we remain unperturbed. We are going to continue to push as our mandate requires under the Constitution. So we have filed these 3 questions to the Minister of Finance. One stands in the name of the Honorable Kwame Agbodza, the MP for Adaklu, that outstanding, hardworking MP, who is pursuing the procurement angles, because we do know that the procurement laws have been violently violated. Then I have 2 questions. One on the total cost, because the documents I'm reviewing, I have a stash of documents that I'm reviewing from the Ministry of Finance, from the Office of the President, and it's heart-wrenching. You see how much money has gone into this project. It's scary. So the first question is the total cost. I am also aware that apart from these releases that are being made, we have had to compensate people. Many people do not know that. The Malian ambassador's residence was in the way. They raised it to the ground and promised the Malian government that they will relocate them at airport residential. You know how much it costs for land at airport residential. We are talking about millions of dollars. That hasn't come up yet. Then they are going to construct a new residence for the Malian ambassador. He's waiting. He's only received the land recently, but he's waiting for the construction to begin. Millions of dollars is what we are talking about. Many people don't know that the passport office was also in the way. Ground. The passport office, as ranking member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, I know we have spent millions renovating it only a few months before it was pulled down. Now, this passport office, they had to spend 10 million Ghana cedis to, as it were, refurbish an abandoned property near GIJ. 10 million Ghana cedis. I am also aware that judges were relocated. As we speak, we are paying for the rent of these judges at prime location. I don't want to mention, it's not good to give specific addresses of judges. You don't do that. Judges must be protected. Then we are building for these judges another set of...
But we knew where these judges were living, didn't we?
We're building for them another... You just know judges Bangla, but you don't really know which kind of judge and which specific judge lives there. Then we are building another set of accommodation for these judges. So there are all of these incidental costs. And I know of some private persons as well who had bought land there, who have to be compensated, who have sent their bills to government. So we are speaking hundreds of millions. And one wonders if we should be in these crunch times.
Okay, so you say that if the finance minister, I mean, you're hoping
so the first question is on all of this cost. We want the total cost. The Ghanaian people must know. And then the second question on my part, which would be the third question when you add the Honorable Agboja's procurement questions, relates to the monies paid to consultancies.
Okay.
There are a gamut of consultancies who are also receiving some payments. So we would want the cost.
Okay.
Now, all of these questions we will follow up with the legal basis.
Okay.
We want the government to tell us the legal basis for spending our money without the approval of the people.
So you intend to go to court?
You know, the first part is to demand these answers.
If you don't get them.
Whether we get them or not, you see, even if we get them, we are convinced that it's not clear that they can satisfy us. Article 178 has been clearly breached. So the second stage will be
if you just joined us, this is GHToday, and I'm here with the Honourable Member of Parliament for the Nat'l Constituency, Mr. Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. Now, join world experts at the Accra International Conference Centre for the Maiden Financial Economics Seminar on the 13th of June 2022. The seminar will focus on presentations and panel discussions on different topics on Ghana's financial and economic situation in an attempt to finding workable solutions to our challenges. The theme is identifying and redefining the economic fundamentals of developing countries, the anomalies, the challenges, and the case of Ghana. The chairman for the event is Professor Emeritus Stephen Adey, former chair for the NDPC, and the keynote speaker is Yofi Grant, the CEO for GIPC, and many other speakers. The time is 9 a.m. prompt. Sponsors GCB, Ghana Gas, NLA, and SIGA. Media partners EIB Network, Asasi Radio, Guide Radio, DGN, Daily Guide, Daily Dispatch, and New Crusading Guide, and Ghana Web. Attendance is absolutely free. You can call 0597 182 673 to book a seat or for any enquiry. Stay with us. After the break, the conversation continues.
Burgers for 6. Did you say 6? Open the app. Ding dong. Global. Your favorite moment.
What's your favorite ice cream?
Ding dong. Global.
Either go on.
Order what you want. Ding dong. Global.
Order it now. Order it global and we will deliver.
Ding dong. Global.
The song is a vibe.
It's a hit, I tell ya.
Everybody is talking
You
about
know, say what? So, ladies, I want to introduce you to something special. Just wait for me. So here we go. Is the bell cola and the bell squeeze. Just try it.
Never a dull moment this festive season with Bell Cola and Bell Squeeze, now available in cans. Feel the fizz as it excites your taste buds as every sip takes you on an adventure. And they're perfect mixes for your cocktails and mocktails.
Say what?
Grab a can of Bell Cola and Bell Squeeze in every shop and pub near you. Another member of the Bell Can range and a quality product from Ablakwa. Bell Cans, refreshing style, taste of adventure. This advert is FDA approved. Bell Cans are now available on Junior Ghana.
Don't just wake up your child. Wake up the champion in them. Give them energy to help them win every day with Milo at breakfast. Let Milo with Active Go and the natural goodness of malt, milk, and cocoa helps wake up the champion in your child.
This advert is FDA approved.
My name is Akufo-Addo. People call me who knows tomorrow. I don't want to hide the good things from the good people of Ghana. Let me tell you about watching your favorite kid show, movies, telenovelas, sports, news, etc. and etc. in crystal clear, high definition picture.
this year.
We know come to play. Yo, what's up, people? It's your boy, Mr. Drew. And I'm going to show you how to pause and rewind live TV. And also program your HD Plus decoder to record shows when you're not home. Middle car. HD Plus, you take care. Charlie, bring your phone, make a download my HD Plus app on it for you, so you can watch TV on your phone with free data every month.
You're welcome back to the show. This is GHToday. I am Sewami here. And I'm in the studios with the Honourable Member of Parliament for the Nat'l Constituency and also the Ranking Member on Parliament's Foreign Affairs Committee, Mr. Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa. Now, so let's move away from the National Cathedral conversation, even though it has to do with work of Parliament, and look at your work in Parliament. How is it going?
Yes, it's going well. Before I move away, let me just drop my last verse for the morning. You know, we are doing our quiet time. Proverbs chapter 21, verse 3. The good book says that the Lord is pleased with what is right and what is fair, more than an offering. You know, so before you dedicate an offering to him, he's interested in the processes. He's interested in whether what has been done is right and is fair.
Okay.
And on those both important cardinal principles, on the grounds of what Proverbs 21:3 says, in terms of rightness, the procedure, the constitution, we are breaching it violently, flagrantly. Then in terms of fairness, priority, what we should be doing now, how people are suffering, dying, literally. This is not what the Lord expects us to do.
All right.
So, yes, Parliament, this promises to be quite a busy session. Unfortunately, as you've heard the Speaker say, we've also been hit with the cash crunch in Parliament as well. The Speaker has complained about lack of releases, you know, so if it's, friends, the NAPCO trainees and national service personnel, I think they are the only ones who are suffering in Parliament, as you've heard the Right Honourable Speaker say. Our releases have also not been forthcoming. Your releases in terms of salary? In terms of the goods and services.
But your salaries have not been touched?
Salaries are only delaying.
But salaries are
delaying, yeah. So May's salary, for example, we are still waiting. What's today's date? Today should be the 6th of June, right? Yeah. The salaries,
but that's just for a month. You should be fine.
Salaries have not been paid. I have already said, I take the view, honestly, very sincere, and I'm not being populist. I'm very sincere, and I've said this time without number, that I would prefer that salaries of everybody else is paid before the politicians, even particularly the vulnerable amongst us, national service personnel, NAPCO trainees. Look, I've seen them posted from, say, the north, very far places from the western region, Sekhi, also other places, to my constituency, and landlords are chasing them out of their rental accommodation. So how do we feel as the political elite when we are receiving our salaries and they meager allowances, very, very meager, you know, very measly amounts, less than 600 cedis, are not being paid? It's horrendous, to say the least. So I take the view that we should pay them first before we pay. So back to the work of Parliament, we are expecting that the media review will come up in this meeting of Parliament. That is sometime next month. Before then, there are quite a number of bills that have delayed, like the affirmative action bill, which I know you will be passionate about. The Right Honourable Speaker has said that let's start some work on that in this particular meeting. Then we have some motions. Okay. Yeah.
Do you think, I mean, when I talk about your work in Parliament, let's now talk about the leadership.
Yeah.
Do you feel that, I mean, looking at the kind of parliaments that we have in this 8th Parliament, the leadership of the minority has done a good job?
So you want me to come and assess my colleagues in the House?
There's nothing wrong with it. You are assessing other people on the other side. You should be able to assess yourself. You're a man of accountability.
So, you see, let's be honest, that we are in uncharted waters. We've never had a hung parliament in the entire history of parliaments in our country. So this 8th parliament of the 4th Republic comes with heightened expectations. Many people have very, very high expectations, especially when our side was able to battle and secure the speakership. That for the first time in the history of this country, we have a speaker who is not from the president's party. It's never happened. So we became a victim of our own successes, particularly at the dawn of the 8th parliament. So I must say that I'm conscious of the fact that many people are assessing us. And here I'm doing also self-assessment, all of us. People say that we are not meeting those high expectations they had that they had at the beginning of the 8th parliament, particularly when we got into ministerial vetting and then some other matters that have come up along the way. I will say that a hung parliament does not necessarily mean that you are the majority. Remember that even though it's a hung parliament, they have one independent MP who
That's
says,
fine.
who says,
Mr.
who says
Ablakwa, we know all that.
there.
I'm asking you about your. We don't have time.
No.
We don't have a lot of time.
You have to contextualize the discussion. It is important. So you have 138 against 137. So you have all these high expectations, yet really, you don't have adequate numbers. If Ghanaians had given us adequate numbers, and then we're disappointing them, I think that those who have been hard on us will have a point. So I'm saying that, yes, we started well. I'm humble and honest and sincere enough to admit that there were some shortcomings. There are times that we didn't really rise up to the occasion. We could have fought harder. We could have carried the people along. But we are determined. I have absolute confidence in our leader, the Honorable Haruna Idrisu. His knowledge of the parliamentary processes, of the law, his dexterity.
There's word on the streets that you are part of this grand scheme to weed out Haruna Idrisu.
Oh my goodness. I also heard it. Totally ridiculous. Absolutely unfounded.
Were you behind the walking out of the minority?
So
when the E-levy bill was about to
E-levy, yeah.
Were you?
It's a decision that we collectively
But you fronted
carried out.
that decision.
You said?
It was your decision.
I was part of those who mooted the idea for strategic reasons. And I'm not shy at all to own up to that. I was in that class of colleagues who, when we assessed the situation, remember that morning we didn't have enough. So our numbers had been whittled down to 136. Then, though they didn't have Ajosafo, word came in, and indeed, we did our checks. They brought in Kojokum in an ambulance and took him to Parliament's clinic. You can go and interview the workers at Parliament's clinic. They will confirm that Kojokum came there. You can do your own background check.
Have.
So they were willing to wheel in Kojokum, and they will have gotten 137. We didn't have Asenov, the Honorable question. So we would be 137, 136 when a vote is taken. People say, oh, they should have stayed and voted. We will have lost the vote, and that will have been the end of the matter. So some of us said that, look, why don't we learn from the NPP strategy? When they noticed on that night of 26 November 2021 that they didn't have Ajosafo, and so they were 137, and we were 137. They staged a walkout using the rules that, the finance minister has been asked to walk out, and Asiedu Nketia was at the gallery. Can you imagine? Public gallery. A very, very outlandish excuse. But the main reason was to walk out and deny.
Did it achieve its purpose?
And deny us.
Do you think that they achieved its purpose?
So they achieved their purpose. So that is why.
You.
Please let me finish. It's important that Ghanaians understand the strategy. So when they walked out, we were 137. So they argued that per Article 104, it should be half of members present and voting. We were not, half of 275 is 138. We were 137. So the budget has not been rejected, is unconstitutional. And that is how they saved the budget. So we also said, let's also be strategic. Why should we just stay in the slaughterhouse and be killed? We have fought this E-levy for 5 good months. We shouldn't just let it die this way. So let's stage a walkout to deny them a quorum. Even if they bring in Kojo Kumi to be 137, it doesn't meet the 138. It will be our same 137 that they said, that 137 cannot reject the budget.
Right.
So, and when we walked out, they didn't even have the presence of mind to bring in Kojo Kumi. They kept him at the Parliamentary clinic. That is not the present and voting. You must be in the chamber present and voting. Then the next day, the 30th of April, we filed our case at the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court clearly has been delaying, engaged in some feet dragging, but at least we have kept the E-levy fight alive. If we had not staged that walkout, what will have happened is that we'll just have lost the vote and the matter is settled and finished. There will be no opportunity to come back. But at least now, thanks to that walkout, we have some hope. The fight is on, this time in a different forum at the Supreme Court. And also remember that our injunction application, we secured a very significant pronouncement from the Supreme Court asking the GRA to keep good records so that in the event that we win our E-levy suit, the GRA will have to refund the people's money to them. So, so the fight is on. And I do not see how the Supreme Court is going to say that as for 137, the Abdullahi case, we ruled that 137 cannot reject the budget, but 136, a much inferior number, can pass E-levy. I don't see how the Supreme Court is going to say that.
I want us to, we have some few minutes to wrap up the conversation. If you just joined us, this is GH Today. We're streaming on Facebook. You can join us with your thoughts and comments, any questions. I want us to talk very quickly about the staffing at the presidency. But before then, I mean, you're one of the members of parliament that provides several incentives to cushion up your people. I mean, I follow you on Twitter. I see the regular posts that you've been making, the things you're doing for your constituents. My question on that is, how do you fund them? Because you're a member of parliament. We have an idea how much you are getting. We know how much the MP's common fund is. How are you funding all these things that you do for your constituents?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. So I'm glad you say you follow my posts, and often I provide the sources of funds for these posts. For example, when I recently took care of national service personnel, I indicated that it was from all my salaries, 2 months of my salary that I donated to them. When I announced that we're going to construct a factory, for example, we're doing a 15,000-ton cassava processing factory that when we finish will employ 2,000 youth, largely from my constituency and then neighboring adjoining constituencies. That is from a partnership between TIAST of China and then a consortium of banks here in Ghana. I have put out the funding architecture. It's not my personal resources. Then again, recently, when I commenced construction of this hospital project, a theater for the GHOne enclave, GHOne, Volu, Podoi side of my constituency. Those who use the GHOne road to Ho will be conversant of that. That entire stretch, we don't have a theater that is for a surgical theater. So if there's an accident, it's a major highway. There's an accident, for example. Unless you are airlifted to Ho or to Akosombo or 37, that's Accra, Kolebu, you don't have any chance. So we're building that. Again, that was a proposal I submitted to a Spanish NGO and through the Catholic Church, and the Catholics will confirm. Indeed, the Keta diocesan, Catholic fraternity will confirm that I held these discussions with them and we secured this partnership with the Spanish. Then when it comes to the equipment, the equipping of that hospital facility, again, I have indicated that I wrote to SOS Medical Supplies of the United States of America. And so what they say that they will give you any equipment that you want, but you must take care of shipping and then a down payment of $10,000. That's one my salary can afford. So that's what I paid for. And I have pledged in writing that when the items arrive, and they arrive in the next few days, we will take care of the shipping. Again, that's not much.
The salary that you have donated?
Only 2 months. 2 months was donated. And remember also that we do get some common fund, the MP's common fund. Yes, it's not that huge. It can't build a road, for example, but it can do a few of these interventions, the laptops for teachers. And I think it's also about identifying the needs. What we do is that we are very scientific in our approach. We always do polls. We interview the people. We do, focus group discussions to find out what the people really want us to do. Because it's not just about talking for them in Parliament. They are not interested really in the talk. They want real action. So this is how it's been a lot of creativity, reaching out to NGOs, ambassadors, embassies, the international community to support. I mean, we'll be doing a medical screening, for example, this Saturday.
Okay.
The Cuban Medical Brigade has offered to donate their doctors, and the Cuban ambassador is the special guest of honor who will be supporting us. So it's really about reaching out, writing, and leveraging. It's not about personal resources.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. Finally, before we let you go, we know that you have the list of the staffers at the presidency, and you have raised lots of questions on that and how much money we are using to pay these staffers at the presidency. What exactly is, I mean, these people are working, aren't they? What is the issue, really?
I like how you put your question. So you are right that I have the list. Let me begin by saying that this one is not an intercepted document. The Presidential Office Act of 1993, Act 463, requires every president to submit to Parliament. Sorry about that. To submit to Parliament within 3 months the full list of staffers at the office of the president. If you will recall, since President Akufo-Addo came to office, it's been quite a struggle. It's always a battle to get him to comply with the Presidential Office Act. Indeed, for this year's own, the submission of this year, and remember that every year you get the records from the previous year.
Okay.
On the 1st of April, I had to go into a banter with the Deputy Majority Leader as to the reason for the delay, because we had gone past March and the President had not submitted the report. At least the report had not been laid. So 2 weeks ago, the report was laid. The Speaker referred the report to the Finance Committee and asked leadership to join the Finance Committee to scrutinize the report. When you go through the report, you realize that the staffing situation at the presidency keeps increasing. And the irony is that this is a government that tells the youth that, look, public sector is full, the wage bill is full. And you've heard Finance Minister Kenoforiata and Osafo Mafo, who have been the apostles of that doctrine. The public sector is full, go and look for jobs in the private sector or look for entrepreneurship opportunities. And yet, when it comes to political appointees at the presidency, it's gone up. They've added 26 people if you compare the 2020 and the 2021 report. Now we have 337 political appointees. In all, the staffing situation is 995. We are approaching 1,000. I wonder if the office of the president requires all of these multitudes, these hordes of people. But my worry really is the political appointees. 337, that is more than Parliament. Parliament has 275 MPs. And you know that there's always this agitation that we are many and we are a drain and Article 71 office holders and all of that. I am for Article 71 reforms. I've always said that we should even have an independent emoluments commission to deal with it. It shouldn't be executive doing that for the legislature and vice versa, which creates this scratch my back, scenario. So you come back to the list, and it's now 337, and they are treated as Article 71 office holders. That's what a lot of people don't know. So this is a huge drain. And if you look at the numbers, I have been asking government for answers. How is it that if you look at the 2020 budget, the wages and salaries, that's compensation for Office of Government Machinery, was 136 million.
Okay.
But 2021, just in 1 year, it jumps to in excess of 823 million, an increase of 508%, 508.4% to be specific. That's worrying. Nobody has had their salaries or their compensation increased by such whopping sums. And you go into the detail and you even get more angry. Look, I was shocked to see the levels of duplication and replication of roles. I have always thought that we had only one director of communications at the presidency. It turns out that we have 4. Can you imagine? Franka J. Chum, Awudumoro Kabore, and Ali Adams, all described at page 12 of this report as directors of communications. Then still in that communications sector, you have 5 deputy directors of communications: Kofi Baye Japan, Taminu Isa, Yusuf Rahul Akumeni, Kofi Christopher Atisu, and others. Then in addition to that, you have 6 technical communications assistants: Habib Lukman, Tahir Ejin, Joshua Ej, George Kumi, Francis Odro. Then you have 2 communication specialists: Vera Uredu, Elijah Okanai Otu. Then you have media liaison officers. Then on top of that, you have a communications consultant, Kweku Sechiado. On top of that, you have Honorable Oboshi Sai Kofi, presidential advisor on media. Then on top of the Oboshi Sai Kofi also comes with special director to the presidential advisor on media. And just communications alone. And we haven't even dealt with the social media army. The last time I heard your brilliant representation on Newsfile, where you complain about trolling and all of that, which is a major issue we should all deal with. They don't deal with the issues, the substance. Then they just come after personalities. There's a whole army for that at the Office of Government Machinery, at the Ministry of Information. And I mean, you wonder, all of these monies, shouldn't we be investing them in concrete things? Dealing with schools under trees, for example. We have hospitals without incubators. The no-bed syndrome. Is this not where we should be sending our money? So that's on duplication.
But
then let me come to
Mr. Ablakwa. I mean, the workers at the presidency increase every time, every year, almost under every government. What is the issue really? What is the problem?
When I finish my presentation, you see.
Okay, in 2 minutes, please. We don't have a lot of time.
You see the issues. Then I bring you to page 24 of this report. Page 24. You have another very amorphous, nebulous, dubious role. Youth Ambassador for Diaspora Affairs, Mr. Jacob Obimbe-Diakon. Youth Ambassador. Look, I am ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee. I know of our sterling, outstanding diplomats across the world. We have over 60 missions across this world. This is a country, I mean, the only black African country that has produced a UN Secretary General. We had the first, chair of the General Assembly, Kwesi Nsaki. We have the Honorable Hannah Tete and the Secretary General. We've produced some of the finest diplomats this world has ever seen. The pedigree of our foreign service staff is not in doubt. What do we want a youth ambassador for diaspora affairs to do that our diplomats, our foreign service staff cannot do? I mean, it's mind-boggling. Then you have even more ridiculous titles. Will you believe that when you go through this report at page 15, we have a position like Church Relations Manager. Reverend Ebenezer Saka Meya, Church Relations Manager. When you think you have heard it all, you even begin to collapse when you hear of Nana K. Ellis, who is Diaspora Church Mobilization Officer. So, I mean, apart from God telling the president to build him a cathedral, He's also told him to mobilize all the Christians in the diaspora across the world. And we are not told mobilizing them for what? Are they mobilizing them to go to heaven? Their pastors can't take them to heaven. We need somebody, an officer at the Ghanaian presidency, not the wealthiest nation in the world, though. Ghanaian presidency, to mobilize Christians in the diaspora. Then, as all of this is going on, do you know that we have Dr. Paul Opoku-Mensah, who is described as overseer of the National Cathedral? So even before the cathedral is completed, we have an overseer already.
All right. On this note, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Mr. Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, he's Member of Parliament for the Nat'l Constituency and also the ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Going to allow me to propose some reforms. I have said we should cap the Presidential's Office Act should be amended, so we cap it. And then the Council of State, they should also tell us, because if you read Section 4 of this Act, they are supposed to be working in consultation with the President in making this appointment. I don't think they are doing their job. But really, look, the wastage must stop. Let's get our priorities right.
Okay. Thank you so much. Now, do you want something tasty and healthy for your snack? Well, the Nutri-Snacks biscuit always makes healthy eating fun and guilt-free. It's made with wheat, oats you can treat yourself with all day long. So get yourself some Nutri-Snacks biscuit today at any retail shop near you and enjoy a whole world of tasty goodness. Nutri-Snacks, tasty goodness. And as you see behind me, the Coop's original Bullfruit Puff Puff Mix is an already mixed and packaged Bullfruit. It's Bullfruit that's already mixed. All you need is 250 ml of sachet water. Pour it into the to the Coop's Bullfruit Puff Puff Mix. Leave it for 25 minutes. Allow it to rise, and then you can deep fry it in super hot oil, and that's all you need for your Bullfruit. You should try it. I'll give you one to try. It's really nice. It's really nice. Anyway, this is GH Today. Stay with us. We'll be back with more after the break.